So what happened then? The bank hit me with all these court costs. It was actually, it's what happens is that the sheriff, I've now even forget the names, the sheriff of the court or the chief of the court. Oh my God, I've now even forgotten what that person is called. The head of the court, of the High Court in South Africa. So he basically, I was called in and to review the whole case, and I was handed down all these court costs in the form of bills that I had to pay. And like I said, it amounted to R1 million. And there were 4 of these bills. So it wasn't just one bill, there were 4 of these bills. And I then had to make a decision what I was going to do. And since the entire court case, that lasted almost 4 years, was all about bills of exchange, promissory notes, and negotiable instruments, I then decided that the only way out for me was to create my own promissory note and issue that as a form of payment and hope for the best. And that's exactly what I did and what we did with my little team of advisors and friends who'd been working on this for 4 years now. So you can imagine, after 4 years of standing up and defending yourself in the highest court in the country, just short of the Supreme Court, or the Constitutional Court in this case, you learn a lot. I mean, you learn a great deal. We had to research the whole thing of securitization, the bills of exchange, any historic activities with promissory notes, etc., etc. So we were really well armed with a lot of knowledge and information by that time, which we then put to use, and we started to construct our own promissory note. Now, that promissory note has been displayed on my website, michaeltellinger.com, for many years, since we first created it, and I then used it to settle those outstanding bills for the banks. And so we created a promissory note. We really worked very, very hard on that to make sure that we do not incriminate ourselves and claim certain things that we can't claim, and make sure that they can't use that promissory note and then still come after you, and all kinds of things. I mean, we really had to dig deep, and I think we spent about 2 weeks drafting and constructing that promissory note. And I will explain to you also what that promissory note says, so you comprehend how this promissory note is possible. Keep in mind, before I go there, what you need to keep in mind is, so then I created these 4 separate promissory notes and I submitted them. Now, you can't just take these promissory notes and go to a bank, give them to the teller, and think they're going to give you money or something like that. And that's unfortunately what most people think you can do, and what promissory notes are all about. And if you create your own promissory note, that's what you can do. Well, that is not the case. So let me make it very clear. You can still go on my website, michaeltellinger.com, look at that promissory note. You can download it. I believe it's downloadable still. If not, I'll make sure that you can download it. However, I've also decided that it's very important that I don't give any advice to people, because I don't want to ever be seen as somebody who presents himself as an expert in this field. All I'm doing is sharing my experience. That's all. I'm not an expert in this field. I'm an expert in my own experience, which involved this field of generating a promissory note, being in a court case representing myself in South Africa in the highest court, and learning through the knocks and the blood, sweat, and tears of that process, how crooked the system is. So once I delivered those promissory notes, the bank just accepted them, and I never heard from them again. There was one attempt, I must say this, there was one attempt from the lawyers of the bank. And I know this, they were just fishing, because by then you get to learn how the lawyers of the bank communicate and what tone they take when they communicate with you. It's very clear. You learn their communication style and so forth. So they also want to explain again. So the bank appoints a law firm to represent them. That law firm has their own lawyers and law team that works on the case, and then that team appoints an advocate that represents their team in the High Court, right? So that's how it works in South Africa, and I believe that's the same way it works in England and the UK, not in the USA, and I'm not sure if it works like this in Australia as well, and the other ex-British colonies and so forth. So I submitted and I delivered the promissory notes, which I delivered according to the way that we had figured out to deliver, and that process basically is also very clearly described in the video that I did shortly afterwards. Please find that video. If you want to get involved in this and you want to take this risk upon your own shoulders to get involved in delivering promissory notes, please find the video. We'll put a link here and watch that entire video where I'll take you through the documents that you need to prepare, how you have to have them stamped, and the affidavits that you need. And there's about 3 levels and 3 layers of documents that you need to go alongside with your promissory note when you deliver it. Now, as I said, you don't deliver it to a bank. That's insane. You don't deliver it to a bank manager because they simply don't understand this. They don't know this. And again, we tried all kinds of things. We tried to go to the bank and deliver this promissory note to the bank managers and so forth. So believe me, we really got experience that very few people ever have. And then eventually we're also doing it during the process while I was in court. Through that whole 4-year period, we tried to settle this with various forms of, the whole thing of that you want to pay something off with a bill, you pay it with a value of the bill. You see, it's so far off my mind now that I even forget what some of these terms are called. That you actually take the bill and you accept it for value. That's right. You take the bill, you accept it for value, and you return it to the sender of the bill, and therefore you should settle the bill because you've just created a negotiable instrument and you've accepted it. So therefore it's a negotiable instrument and they can then utilize it. Now, I know some people are still in that frame of mind, the whole accept for value situation with bills and so forth. We tried that. We tried that many times in various situations and locations, from bank head offices to banks and bank managers and so forth. And we just realized it doesn't work. And it's because the people that work in those jobs simply don't get it, and they just protect their job. They were not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize their job. They don't care if it's right or wrong. They just follow the book. They have a job and they have got certain terms and conditions and rules that they have to follow, and that's what they do. So they don't ever, they'll never accept a payment from somebody that walks into the bank, the head office of the bank or anything like that, or the bank manager anywhere, or a teller. They will never accept that responsibility. So we delivered the promissory notes, and I delivered them on 4 separate occasions. So I did not deliver 4 promissory notes at the same time. I delivered 4 promissory notes separate on 4 separate occasions in an envelope with all the different papers that needed to be stamped and signed, like a delivery note and so forth. So let me explain to you that process. Very simple. So once you've got your promissory note, and you can have a look at the promissory note, hopefully we'll put an example of it here in this video, and I'll explain to you what that promissory note says as well, and why it is so critical what it says to protect you, or protect me at that stage, was to protect me against any potential blowback that I'm committing financial crimes. So 4 separate promissory notes delivered on 4 separate times, delivered to the lawyers of the bank. Now this is very important, because at that time I was not dealing directly with the bank. Their contact were the lawyers. Now I think many people that have followed my process and followed this story for many years now, keep in mind that as I'm making this video, It's 2025 now. This is 12 years ago. This is already 12 years ago. So it's a long time ago. And I delivered those promissory notes, and they are delivered to the bank. They delivered to the lawyers of the bank, and they're not delivered to any specific person. They're delivered to the mailroom, because all these big law firms have mailrooms where they accept mail. And again, I talk in great detail about how and why that is done, so that you have proof of delivery. And remember, in the bills of exchange, the whole thing about that the bill has been settled and there's no more obligation, you've been freed from your obligation upon delivery of the note, and proof of delivery of the note. So we took that and we utilized that clause in the bills of exchange, that we had proof of delivery of the promissory note, or we didn't call it a promissory note, proof of delivery of the settlement.